Only 1% of people over 50 years old know the effects that creatine can have on the body. From the age of 50, our body begins to undergo significant changes. One of them, and perhaps the most concerning for many men, is the accelerated loss of muscle mass. This loss is not just an aesthetic issue. We're talking about a natural process called sarcopenia, which can reduce your physical strength by up to 15% per decade after 50 years of age. This means that simple daily tasks, such as carrying groceries, climbing stairs, or even getting out of bed can become real challenges. But what if I told you that there is a supplement, accessible and well-studied, that can be a game changer in this process? Yes, we're talking about creatine. In this video, you will see the 5 greatest benefits that adults experience when starting supplementation with creatine. The saddest thing is that despite all the scientifically proven benefits, less than 1% of people in this age group regularly consume this supplement. Why? Usually because of 2 common myths involving creatine. Myth number 1, the supposed hair loss. One of the biggest fears that keep older men away from creatine is the belief that it can accelerate hair loss. But let's look at the facts. This myth arose mainly because of a single study that showed a small increase in DHT levels in rugby players after creatine supplementation. DHT is a hormone associated with male baldness. However, this study has several methodological limitations. First, it was conducted with only 20 participants, which is an extremely small sample to draw definitive conclusions. Second, the DHT increase was temporary and moderate. Third, none of the participants actually developed hair loss during the study period. Since then, dozens of more robust studies have investigated creatine supplementation, and none have established a direct link with hair loss. The International Society of Sports Nutrition reviewed more than 500 studies on creatine and concluded that there is no concrete evidence to support this association. To put it in perspective, if you have a genetic predisposition to baldness, factors such as stress, poor diet, hormonal imbalances, and aging will have a much greater impact on your hair health than creatine. Myth number 2. Fear that creatine is harmful to the kidneys. Another persistent myth is that creatine overloads the kidneys, especially in older people. This fear comes mainly from the confusion between creatine and creatinine, the latter being a muscle breakdown product that doctors use as a marker of kidney function. Let's clarify. Yes, creatine supplementation can slightly increase blood creatinine levels, but this doesn't mean it's damaging your kidneys. It's just a natural consequence of increased creatine in the system. Like saying having more money in your bank account is overloading your bank. Long-term studies, some following people for more than 5 years using creatine daily, have found no negative effects on kidney function. A meta-analysis published in the Journal of Sports Science and Medicine reviewed 12 clinical studies and concluded that there is no evidence that creatine supplementation at recommended doses causes kidney damage in healthy individuals, or even in populations with elevated risk. In fact, for people over 40 years old without pre-existing kidney disease, creatine may be one of the safest supplements available, with hundreds of studies proving its safety. Only people with diagnosed kidney disease should consult a doctor before starting supplementation as a precaution. Now let's get to the benefits of creatine. After 40, benefit 1, combats sarcopenia. Sarcopenia, as mentioned earlier, is the progressive loss of muscle mass associated with aging. This process usually begins around the age of 30, but drastically accelerates after 50. We can lose up to 3% to 5% of our muscle mass each decade after 30 years of age, and this rate can double after 60. A study from the University of São Paulo showed that muscle loss is the main factor associated with decreased quality of life in the elderly. It leads many to lose their independence, increasing the risk of falls and fractures. This is where creatine stands out. It acts in 2 fundamental ways against sarcopenia. 1. By increasing muscle protein synthesis, your body's ability to build new muscle proteins. A study published in the Journal of Gerontology demonstrated that men over 55 supplementing with creatine had a 30% increase in protein synthesis compared to the placebo group. 2. By enhancing the effects of physical exercise. A study by the University of Oklahoma followed men between 55 and 70 years old for 12 weeks of training. The group that took creatine gained on average 7 pounds of lean mass, while the placebo group gained only 3 pounds. Interestingly, these effects are often more pronounced in older people because natural creatine levels in muscles decrease with age, making supplementation even more effective. Benefit 2. Helps with brain health. One of the most surprising benefits of creatine, especially after 40, is its protective effect on the brain. Like muscles, the brain is a major energy consumer, using about 20% of all the body's energy despite being only 2% of total body weight. The brain stores and uses creatine intensively during cognitive tasks. As we age, the brain's energy efficiency decreases, contributing to cognitive decline. A study published in the Journal of Neuroscience showed that creatine supplementation significantly improved working memory and processing speed in older vegetarian adults. Another study from the University of Sydney found that 6 weeks of supplementation improved recognition memory and reduced mental fatigue in adults over 45. There's also emerging evidence that creatine may have neuroprotective properties, potentially helping to prevent or slow down diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Benefit 3. Bone and joint health. After 40, bone density begins to decrease, and joints suffer from years of wear and tear, leading to conditions like osteoporosis and osteoarthritis. A study in the Journal of Bone and Mineral Research found that creatine can stimulate osteoblast activity, increasing bone formation. Participants over 50 who took creatine for 12 months showed a 1 to 2% increase in lumbar spine bone density, significant when many people are losing 0.5 to 1% per year. Additionally, creatine helps reduce joint stress by strengthening muscles around the joints. A study with adults aged 45 to 65 with mild knee osteoarthritis showed that creatine supplementation reduced joint pain by 33% when combined with exercise. Benefit 4. Reduction of fatigue and mood improvement. Fatigue and mood changes are common after 40. While often accepted as normal aging, they can be reduced. Creatine improves ATP regeneration, the main energy source of cells, including brain cells. A study in the Journal of Clinical Psychopharmacology found that adults with stress-related fatigue experienced a 50% reduction in symptoms and improved mental and physical vigor after 8 weeks of supplementation. Creatine may also boost levels of S-adenosylmethionine, (SAM), known for its antidepressant properties. Benefit 5. Metabolism enhancement and weight control. After 40, the basal metabolic rate (BMR) drops by 2 to 5% per decade, making weight control harder. Creatine helps in 2 ways. 1. Preserves muscle mass, which maintains a higher BMR. Each kilogram of muscle burns 50 to 100 extra calories per day at rest. 2. Activates brown fat (BAT), which burns calories for heat. The University of Alberta found that creatine may increase BAT activity, helping with calorie burn. A study from Brazil showed that adults in a 12-week weight loss program who took creatine preserved more muscle and had a 7% higher BMR at the end than the control group. 3 precautions. When taking creatine, 1 purity and quality matter buy from reputable brands. Low-quality creatine can contain impurities causing nausea, diarrhea, or worse, heavy metal contamination. Look for certifications and third-party testing. 2. Increase water intake. Creatine causes intracellular water retention, which is beneficial, but it means you need more fluids. Increase your intake by at least 16 ounces per day. A good rule: your urine should be light yellow. Avoid sugary and alcoholic drinks. These can decrease creatine effectiveness and stress your kidneys. Choose water, unsweetened tea, or coconut water. 3. Get a medical evaluation first. Especially after 40, get a checkup before starting. Creatine is safe for healthy individuals, but may affect those with kidney, liver, or blood pressure issues. Do basic blood work, then repeat it after 3 to 6 months to ensure safety. Creatine should be taken daily, even on rest days, to maintain consistent levels and maximize benefits, including those for the brain and metabolism. Thank you for watching.